What's up, guys? Gun here. I hope this video finds you well. In today's video, we're going to take a little bit of time talk about the two-game opening day slate on Fanduel and Draftkings. Typically, throughout the duration of a season, I don't really get up for these two-game slates. I might, play a showdown here and there, but I usually don't put out a lot of video content because I do believe the process is thrown out the window for these two games, right? We're playing hitters against our pitchers and stuff like that. But I figure since it's a special occasion, we're getting back into the swing of things. I haven't done much in the last couple of months. Figure we'll do a video. I'll try to keep it as short as possible, but I get to rambling. In this video, we're going to be using my spreadsheet to kind of look at the two games on the docket. We got the Yankees at the Nationals and the Giants at the Dodgers, and then we'll talk about the different sites in a different contest. So if you guys are like me and you don't like these short slates and you're like, nah, I'm just waiting for Friday, bro. Well, before you hit that thumbs up and leave, know that DraftKings is actually having a $3 contest, 3-entry max. It's a pretty nice prize pool, and the gimmick with this one is if you don't cash, you get your $3, you get your entry back. So if you're going to play $9 at least on Friday, or $6 or $3, you might as well play it on Thursday at a no risk, decent reward opportunity. So check that out. It is on DraftKings. Doesn't look like it's going to fill anytime soon. It's about 50K out of 118 or 119K. So that's out there. Also, remember, tiers is still a thing for DraftKings. They have a 6-category tier, and I think some of these are going to have a little bit of edge. I think a couple of these might have players that won't actually play. And, of course, just guys in better matchups than others that we can just kind of process of elimination. So if you get a little overwhelmed, maybe on the Friday slate, remember tiers are still an option. FanDuel also has a 2-game offering with late swap as well. 100K to first in their $3 contest. So plenty of micro stakes to medium stake stuff if you guys are a little bit new to baseball, to not have to go too crazy, but still kind of enjoy the sweat and maybe enjoy and learn a new DFS sport. If you are new to MLB DFS and new to my YouTube channel, I am Gun, twitter.com/GundackerSports. I have been a professional full-time DFS player and content provider for, 5-6 years now. So I definitely like to think that I have an idea what I'm talking about. And if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you want to kind of share your thoughts on the content that I've been able to put out over the years, be sure to leave a comment below. And generally speaking, when YouTube channels go a little bit inactive over a period of time, the YouTube algorithm kind of hides them a little bit. And that's just been kind of the case by default for this channel because we haven't had any sports to put content for. I didn't want to do esports and international sport content and pretend like I know sports that I don't, because I do feel like so most of you guys appreciate the fact that I don't fake knowledge on sports, right? There was a lot of content providers starting to try and tout like KBO and sports like that they really had no business trying to influence other people's money. So I didn't want to be one of those people. So we didn't put up content on this channel. So if you guys want to show some love for that, interact with the channel to kind of shake up the algorithm, get us back to the front of some of the DFS searches, and all you got to do is hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll probably tweet this video, retweet that, and it's as simple as that. And I would appreciate it. I'd be forever indebted to you if throughout this video you like the spreadsheet or you like what you hear, and you think I know what I'm talking about, and you want to go above and beyond to support the channel and get a little something in return. I do have premium offerings that you guys can get signed up for. I do have spreadsheets for the sports that I personally cover, which will be MLB, NBA's coming back in about a week after opening day. And then, of course, in September, knock on wood, we should get NFL back, and I do spreadsheets and breakdowns for all of that. If you guys want to sign up for that, right now we have a month pass at $80 and a end of year pass until January 1st for $300. Not only do you get access to the spreadsheets and my personal player pools and stuff like that, but we get the 24/7 premium Discord, which I think is probably as valuable of an offering of what we do out of everything. I think this Discord has become such a process for many of the members here. We have over 50 active members right now, subscribers. If you guys want to be part of that, this is a premium paid Discord. We do host near daily voice chats for each sport before lock to kind of talk some game theory, leverage ideas, just who we're on, who we don't like, stuff like that. And just hang out. A lot of friends here, a lot of guys that have been connected for years. So if this sounds like something you like to do, definitely reach out to me on Twitter, twitter.com/GundeckerSports. Right now we're doing payments via PayPal. And then maybe within a week we'll have that storefront from RunDFS.com back live. That's enough shilling, enough plugging. Let's talk two-game MLB. Well, first off, let's talk about the pitching options on this slate before we go in-depth in terms of metrics the last two seasons. At 10K on DraftKings, we got Gerrit Cole. At 8,600, we got Max Scherzer. At 7,700, Clayton Kershaw. And at 5K, Johnny Cueto. So we have a pretty top-heavy three, and then it just falls off a cliff. I really don't see myself getting near Johnny Cueto today, but all of the first three are really in play, but I think the middle two are probably what stick out to me the most. 8,600 for Scherzer and 7,700 for Kershaw seem low risk for guys that will likely get me 2x value, which is what I'm looking for pitchers with the propensity of getting me 20 plus DraftKings points and maybe even steal a win or something like that. I was very worried about pitch counts going into opening day. I think that's going to be a larger problem to track on Friday. I think on a two-game slate, like I said, we got to kind of disregard much of our rule of thumb process, stuff like playing hitters against your pitchers and playing pitchers with low pitch counts and stuff like that. I did go and look up the pitch counts for the last practice appearance of each of the three pitchers that I'm actually interested in. Max Scherzer threw 87 pitches against the Phillies on July 18th. Gerrit Cole also threw 87 pitches in his last practice game, and Clayton Kershaw threw 82 pitches in his last practice game. So generally, as pitchers become stretched out, managers kind of give a 10-pitch window to kind of advance. So if 87, 87, 82 for those pitchers is what they threw in their practice game, not counting what they might have gone to the bullpen and added, then you might expect all these guys to have a pitch count around 95 or at least a capacity. I do think the bullpen for the Yankees makes Aaron Boone a little bit more likely to go and get Gerrit Cole early if he had to, whereas the Nationals bullpen's a little less trustworthy to bridge to their closer. So Max Scherzer might want to stay out a little bit more, and kind of the same for Kershaw. So I think Gerrit Cole might be the name you hear a lot of people kind of stay away from just because of pitch counts and whatnot. I'm not going to overthink any of these three. I think I would have exposure to all three. I would probably have the highest exposure to Kershaw and Scherzer. In 20 lineups, I'd probably set myself at 70% of both of these guys and then fill in the gaps where I could with Gerrit Cole. And like I said, I have little to no interest in Johnny Cueto. I know a lot of people might make a case for Cueto as being a great tournament play, low-owned kind of guy, 5K, you don't need much. But on a two-game baseball slate, value is extremely subjective, and I think raw points matter. If Johnny Cueto just gets you 8 DraftKings points, maybe that's not what you not something that you hate, right? It's just generally, 5K, I got over 1x value, almost 2x value from my pitcher. Yeah, well, if you're getting 16s from Scherzer and Kershaw on the low end, those guys are likely in the winning lineups, right? Because to make it for Cueto's single-digit performance, you probably need a bunch of the big hitters of the slate. So I'm not going to get too cute with Cueto, but I certainly understand the game theory behind playing him. But I'm a guy that likes to play with the numbers or play by the numbers a lot more than not. I don't like to just take stabs at people that I can't really justify with metrics. So my interest in this slate for pitching is just going to be the top three. And then I think if I was going to enter some cash games, it would be Scherzer and Kershaw without blinking and I. Let's talk about the matchups here. Yankees at the Nationals is your first game on the docket. It's going to be about a 3-hour gap between projected first pitches for both the Nats game and the Dodgers game. There is some rain concern where we're standing now for the Nationals game. I think I saw a chance at almost 40% rain that day. In the past couple of years, weather has been almost a meme point for the Nats, as we've seen them call some really, really wonky games that a lot of weathermen that are in DFS did not think they needed to call. And then, they just make some brash decisions. I would like to believe that on a 60-game season with like 67 days to get these games in, you're going to see MLB pressure teams to wait out as much as they can, especially this early in the season. You don't want teams to be backed up and playing a lot of doubleheaders with such a short window. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume the Nats wait it out and play. But just know that early on there is some weather concern. So when you come back Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, keep an eye on the weather report. It is the Nats. Let me adjust the chair here. All right, let's talk about the Yankees lineup. So you're gonna see DJ LeMahieu projected to be the leadoff hitter. And if you guys are new to the channel and new to me, I do my best to be completely unbiased in every sport that I cover, but just know the Yankees are my passion in life. I love the Yankees. I think I do a good job at holding back from a analytical perspective, but I also think this allows me to add a deeper dimension on knowledge on this particular team. DJ LeMahieu projected to be the leadoff guy. He was positive for coronavirus, and he did miss much of the shortened spring training anyway, and I think he only got 1 or 2 games in that last game against the Phillies. He only played half the game. He did fly out to the right field warning track. I mean, he just missed a homer by inches, but I still think it's a little bit of a stretch to believe that he would be game ready, or they would bank on him to be a 9-inning player already. Eventually, he's going to have to go out there and get those reps in. Maybe he plays half a game. Maybe he just DHs or something like that. So I would say don't hold your breath on DJ LeMahieu actually being in the lineup just yet, just because there is a loose chance that they don't think he's ready. He said that he would try and play if they give him the opportunity. But the Yankees do have plenty of infield options. Tyler Wade, Miguel Andujar also in the mix. Tyler Wade can play just about every infield position. You probably see him play mostly second base. And Miguel Andujar, who you guys might remember as a third baseman, has actually been playing a little bit first base and outfield in the spring training. So they might go with a little bit weirder lineup if LeMahieu doesn't play. Aaron Judge and the rest of this Yankee lineup is going to come out really, really righty heavy, which is an amazing note for Max Scherzer. Scherzer in the last 2 seasons has struck out righties at a 38+% clip with an xFIP of 2.5 or less and a really, really, really low walk rate. So this is a great spot at 8,600 for him to maybe rack up a K per inning here if he goes 6 innings, maybe even get double-digit strikeouts. I definitely think that's possible. Yankees will strike out, particularly against elite righties. With that said, Max Scherzer can give up some power. We've seen him give up some power just a couple games ago in spring training. Gave up a massive shot to Bryce Harper. But historically, he is known to give up more power to lefties than righties. Yankees don't have a power lefty. Now, Aaron Hicks is someone with some pop, and even through injuries last season and in the playoffs against Justin Verlander, we saw some big moments for him to hit with a little bit of power. So if I did want to chase an errant home run against Max Scherzer, maybe Aaron Hicks is that one lefty profile that would do it. I don't think I would be running to play Brett Gardner in hopes of a home run. There is a chance Gardner could lead off if LeMahieu didn't. But I think Aaron Hicks would be that guy for me. And then, like I said, Tyler Wade would likely play if DJ LeMahieu didn't. And I still think Aaron Boone might look at Tyler Wade just to get another lefty bat in this lineup. 2 seems a little slim against a guy like Max. So maybe look at Tyler Wade at the bottom of the order, but he is a really, really small, speedy guy that we're not looking at to hit for some power, but he is very, very fast. So Hicks would be that lefty long shot homer against Max that I'm looking for. Aaron Judge did homer off of Max Scherzer in the All-Star game. You guys might have seen a video of Justin Verlander kind of calling that. So it's definitely not impossible for Judge to get after Max's fastball. And we've seen Max struggle with power in the last couple outings. Aaron Judge, a 2.17 grade against the fastball in the last season. On a linear scale, with 0 being the median, the average, him being over 2 grade is massive there. So Max Scherzer, most common pitch is a plus spot for Judge. There's also a plus rating against the slider. So on, almost 70% of Max's pitches, we've got a high grade for Aaron Judge. Some of the other stuff, some of the paint jobs and stuff like that is where Judge really struggles. But I'm not gonna go too crazy with loving the Yankees for power. I will say Vegas has the Yankees at an implied run total of 4.1, and I mentioned it earlier. I think with these pitchers being on pitch counts at 95 or less, we might get 3 to 4 innings of bullpen work. And if we look at that bullpen from the Nats last season, it wasn't anything too stunning. Only Wander Suero had a above 1 WAR. Other than that, guys like Sean Doolittle, he was a little closer to 1, so he doesn't profile as the worst. But it's not some lockdown bullpen that I'm running from, especially if like guys like Hunter Strickland got in there or Tony. Like there's a lot of high Sierra and high XFIP guys. So I do think you can gamble on the Yankees getting to the bullpen with 1 or 2 at bats after they get past Max. So I don't mind at that line of thinking. And with that line of thinking, while on the surface, all of the power hitters for the Yankees, Judge, Stanton, Gary Sanchez, even Luke Voit, while they may not appear to be in great matchups to make contact with the baseball against Max Scherzer, who knows what will happen against the bullpen. We've seen that time and time again. So it's not crazy to have Max Scherzer with a couple of Yankee power bats like Stanton, Judge. Judge would probably be my preferred guy. He's my favorite player, but in all honesty, he's looked really, really good in spring thus far. Of course, he's not faced a pitcher of the quality of Max Scherzer, but he does have 3 home runs in his last 2 games. He hit 2 home runs in the Bronx a couple of days ago, and then he hit 1 off of Vince Velasquez in that Philly scrimmage. So he's looked pretty sharp, and he actually pulled 2 of those home runs. And there was a lot of speculation about him being injured last season. It turned out he was dealing with some injuries. Actually had a broken rib and a punctured lung. But it looks like he's fully healed from that. So if Aaron Judge can look a lot more like 2017 Aaron Judge, I'd be excited. So Judge would definitely be the first power guy from the Yankees that I'd take a shot on, and it doesn't hurt to know that he did catch Scherzer for 1 in the All-Star game. Gerrit Cole, the fancy new shiny toy for the New York Yankees. He's going to cost you the most on both sides, and I think if you're paying the most for Gerrit Cole, that means he has to have the most fantasy points scored. He's looked just fine in spring training thus far. Like I said, he threw 87 pitches in his last outing as well. Going against a team that is somewhat familiar with him. He faced the Nats in the World Series last season. A lot of the same guys, just no Anthony Rendon. A lot of new faces too, though. Starlin Castro, Eric Dames, Keyboom, Gomes, Robles. This lineup is definitely a lineup that he can get the best of from a strikeout standpoint. But there's still a couple names in here that I wouldn't run from. I think Juan Soto kind of sticks out to me the most. Soto being the franchise of the Nats offensively. I think if somebody in front of him can get on, a guy like Eaton or Trey Turner, Speedy Turner, especially a guy like Turner. If Gerrit Cole came out and either plunk Turner or just Turner got on, I would love that that scenario for Juan Soto, just to have somebody to worry about, a speedster on first base, and maybe let one slip to a guy like Soto. How has Soto done historically against Gerrit Cole? Let's sort this. Juan Soto is 4 for 6 off of Gerrit Cole with 2 homers. Yeah. I'm not a BVP guy, but that's at least an encouraging sign. So Juan Soto is definitely somebody I like. And on that same note, just like I think you could play a Judge or something like that in a lineup at Max Scherzer, I think you could play a Juan Soto in the lineup against Gerrit Cole. For tournaments, I think that's not a crazy thing. You might also hear a lot of hype on Eric Thames. Eric Thames is a kind of a fantasy darling. Oftentimes lands in lineups because he's kind of cheap, and we know he has massive power. If you've ever seen Eric Thames, he's big swole. 47.1% hard contact rate against righties. That's a lot, but he has to make contact, and that's something that's easier said than done. A 32.2% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching, and the the matchup here against Gerrit Cole is a tough one for lefties. He struck out lefties at an absolutely insane 43.7% clip last season. While he did give up some power, he is very, very tough to make contact with. So if I had to use metrics to make it a educated guess and decision on who to pick for, an errant bomb from the Nats, it would be Soto and probably not Thames. But that's not to say Thames couldn't, get a positive pitch here. If Thames does bat in the 6th spot here, in this projected lineup that has Carter Kieboom, Yan Gomes, Victor Robles behind him, I don't feel like he has a ton of protection for me to feel like Cole would be forced to challenge him in a tough spot. So we'll see how this lineup comes out. This is all projected lineups. You might see some names that don't actually play. I also think it might be a little... I feel like I wouldn't have Starlin Castro bat in 3rd. So I do think this projected lineup could be subject to change. If I was going to have somebody in front of Soto, I would probably put Soto 3rd myself. But I'd probably have Howie Kendrick over Starlin Castro in that spot. But nonetheless, this Nationals lineup on paper only has a couple names that I'm terrified of. And that would be guys like Turner, Juan Soto, and then an errant fastball to Eric Thames. So, on a short list there. Eaton is somebody that's interesting just because he's kind of an older version of Trey Turner. Does have a little bit of speed. He does have a high hit for average and the ability to get on base at a decent clip. Actually has a higher WOBA against righties than Trey Turner. So I don't think he's crazy. I just don't know that I'm playing him for like a home run or anything like that. So both pitchers in play for me. All the Yankees bats in play as shots at power. And then I'd be more interested in having these Yankees bats against that Nats bullpen. Dodgers hosting the San Francisco Giants. When you take the first glance at this slate, it really just feels like you're clicking Max Scherzer, you're clicking Clayton Kershaw, and then you're trying to stack Dodgers. You get 42-12 per bat once you do that, and once you do that, I don't think it's that hard. You get that Belly, maybe Muncy, Betts, and then you choose a third Dodger, maybe a Justin Turner, something like that. If you did that, that's leaving $37.50 per. I think if you see what I have on my screen here, this will generally be your skeleton for cash games, and I don't disagree with it. I think it makes perfect sense. The Dodgers have the highest implied run total on this slate, 5.2 runs to their largest Vegas favorite, minus 284. It's just a good spot for them to open things up. A lot of people pegging the Dodgers as easy favorites to run the gauntlet out of the National League. So I think they'll be your chalk stack of this day, and I don't have any argument against it. Let's talk about Clayton Kershaw. You're going to hear a lot of people say Clayton Kershaw has regressed. He's not the same as he used to be. Home run-wise, sure, but I do think people over-exaggerate when it comes to his metrics. xFIP under 4, Sierra under 4, swing and strike rate was at 12.9% last season. That's 13%. That's fine with me. Really low walk rate, a 104 whip. I mean, the metrics are still great. There's a lot of teams that Kershaw would be an ace on with these advanced metrics. The home run per 9 got to be a problem, and the hard contact rate got to be a problem. And we saw that kind of happen in his spring training games as well. So if you're worried about Kershaw. I think you should be worried about guys with a little bit of pop, a little bit of power. The Giants will be limping into the season without Buster Posey. And then I think I saw that Crawford and Evan Longoria won't play as well. So this is going to be a who's who of who's that. A lot of AAA specialists, some guys coming back to finish their career, Hunter Pence. And then Wilmer Flores, who floated around the Diamondbacks after a long stint with the New York Mets. He might be a fun, cheap play on either site. He is a perennial lefty masher, air quotes. And maybe against Kershaw, he might be somebody that takes advantage of Kershaw's home run bug to righties. But generally speaking, there's not a lot of fear that I have in this lineup. So I think Kershaw would be your highest owned pitcher on DraftKings, and I don't think that would be anything I can argue against without just saying, oh, it's game theory, it's leverage, he's going to be too high on, you fade the chalk. That's literally the only thing I have about or anything I can make against playing Kershaw. Dodgers lineup, everyone's in play, literally everyone. If you want to project power, Johnny Cueto might be a little unfair to him because of his very, very short season last year coming back from Tommy John. He had just 6 innings pitched against lefties. In those 6 innings, he had 3 home runs allowed on a 280 batting average allowed. Remember his home park, AT&T, the year prior to that against lefties, a 1.73 home run per 9 with a 26.6% line drive rate. The fly ball rate, really not high at all, but he still gave up some power. So I do like all of the lefties for the Dodgers if we're projecting power. I think Cody Bellinger probably is going to be the dong of the day call for a lot of analysts. And then guys like Jock Peterson kind of fit in. I mentioned earlier when it came to the Nats how Max Scherzer might have a longer leash. And one of the reasons why I feel like that is because the designated hitter position has been implemented universally. So if you guys are new to baseball, the American League had a DH and the National League didn't. Essentially what that meant is in the National League, pitchers had to hit, and in the American League, a designated hitter, a guy that's there solely to swing at the baseball, would hit in his place. Because of that, the Dodgers should be kind of looked at with a new lens, because Dave Roberts and the Dodgers have been notorious for a lot of switches and double switches the last couple seasons, and a lot of those switches are inspired by the need to get the pitcher spot out of there for hitting purposes and strategy and stuff like that. So guys like Jock Peterson and Chris Taylor would only play like half a game a lot of the times before they got subbed out, and Roberts would use his bench pretty liberally. So I am curious to see if that's going to be something that subsides a little bit with these Dodgers players now that they have a DH spot. Will Roberts go crazy when it comes to double switches and stuff like that? Because generally speaking, I would be a little bit alarmed to play a 7-hole Jock Peterson if I thought I was only getting 1 or 2 at bats because of the impending double switch. But I do think it could be possible that it doesn't happen here. So something to keep an eye on. But all of the Dodgers are in play here. Past the Giants starter here, Johnny Cueto. We go look at their bullpen from last season. Giants, anything extravagant? Actually, the Giants seem to have a pretty average to plus bullpen when it comes to Sierra. Mark Melancon had a 3.6 Sierra. Andrew Suarez, lefty there. He might see some reps here. I'm not sure who's all active going into opening day just yet, but I'm not too worried about it. This Dodgers team is elite talent-wise. I mean, this is just nuts. It's not fair. So I'll have a ton of Dodger stacks backing Kershaw ownership and Scherzer ownership. I'll have no Cueto. If I wanted to take a stab against Kershaw, I think Wilmer Flores is curious. Donovan Solano is a little bit interesting, and Mauricio Dubon. I'm curious with him. If we go look at that hitter rating chart, No surprise here. All the Dodgers at the top of the bomb detector. The lefties, Cody Bellinger, Max Muncy, Jock Peterson, Corey Seager. You'll see a lot of that. You'll see a lot of tracks on that. So I don't want to repeat a lot of what you guys will probably hear as we lead up to opening day. But that's my first glance at the slate in general. Pitch report-wise, anything for Cueto, fastball, cutter, Cordy Bellinger, Jesus H. Cody Bellinger's in an insane spot here. Crushes the cutter. Crushes the changeup. Yeah, Bellinger probably becomes my highest owned player based on this information. And he's only outfield eligible. I thought he might be first base eligible as well, but he's only outfield eligible. So yeah, that'd be my favorite play there. If I had to make maybe like a core 4 or 5 lineup to get you guys started in your builds, it would definitely be Scherzer, Kershaw, and then Bellinger, easily my number 1 draft pick. I'm really curious with Soto. Maybe I got a little bit of bias holding me back on that one. It'd probably just be a literal 4-man Dodger stack in cash. So you probably have to give me Bellinger, Betts. Muncy's fine. I think Muncy's reverse splits. Let me double check that. Not that I'm too concerned about Johnny Cueto, but last season he batted .268 against lefties with 11 bombs. So yeah, had a better average against righties, but he's still fine. But give me Bellinger, Mookie, and then I think Justin Turner might be somebody that cores my third base spot because third base is pretty shallow. Justin Turner has 2 homers, batting .375 off of Cueto in 32 at-bats. Not the worst sample size here. I'm not a BVP guy generally because of a shallow sample size, but Seager and Turner do have a couple reps there. So, give me Belly, Betts, Scherzer, Kershaw, and then probably Justin Turner at third base just because of how shallow it is. And if I use that gives me $39.20 per. If I'm not paying up for Gary Sanchez, I'll probably punt some random catcher. And who's the cheapest guy in the slate that I could use as somebody I don't think is a complete waste of space? Let's go to the hitter rating chart, actually. Draftkings. Cheapest Draftkings hitter, Jalen Davis is an option. Crawford, I don't think will play. Austin Slater might actually lead off, and he'd be bare bones mid on FanDuel, 3,100 on DraftKings. So maybe Slater is the guy. First base eligible, 41 per. Yeah, it's not going to be that difficult to get this working, man. So I think you'll see a lot of similar lineups, but there's no reason not to take a couple cracks at this $3 no risk, all money back. And then look out for a much longer video for Friday's slate, breaking down all the festivities and games projected for that night. I'm going to be so excited. Kid in the candy shop. And I'm so excited to watch some Yankees baseball. If you guys want to join the VIP crew and be part of those voice chats on Discord and get access to the spreadsheets, DM me on Twitter, and I'll get you set up through PayPal. I will actually have week passes. I'll probably tweet out the option for week passes Thursday morning, and I'll probably get that to around $25, man. I appreciate you guys hanging out in this video. Is there anything I missed flexing on the spreadsheet here? I think we looked at a couple things here. So if there's any questions, comments, concerns, leave a comment on this video. I'll do my best to patrol the comments and get back to you with some of my thoughts. But Twitter is a great spot to interact with me and start some conversations. So you can reach out to me, tweet at me, DM me, twitter.com/GundackerSports. Man, I appreciate you guys hanging out. I love each and every one of you. Hope you guys are staying safe, socially distant, and not contracting the Rona, man. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.